They told us that if we became disciplined enough, successful enough, useful enough, we'd finally feel whole. So we became the ones who carry a lot, the builders, the providers, the protectors. But even strong people need somewhere to put things down. Welcome to Granite Grace, a weekly reset for the people who carry a lot. So wherever you're listening from, take a breath. There's nothing to prove here, nothing to perform here, just a moment to remember we were never meant to carry life alone. Welcome home. Over the last 4 weeks, we've been putting things down. The pressure, the overfunctioning, the hustle, the need to rescue everyone, the addiction to being needed, the constant pursuit of another mountain to climb. But something unexpected happens when you've worn armor long enough. Eventually, you forget you're wearing it. You stop noticing how heavy it is. You stop questioning why it's there. You simply assume this is who you are. Maybe you've introduced yourself by profession for so many years that you've forgotten how to describe yourself without your work. Maybe you've spent decades being the responsible one that you don't remember who existed before responsibility found you. So today, I want to ask us a question that feels almost uncomfortable. Who are you without the armor? Not your title, not your salary, not your ministry, not your followers, not your reputation. Who is the person God already knows before the world applauds? One of the easiest traps to fall into is confusing our assignment with our identity. We introduce ourselves through what we produce. I'm a CEO, I'm a mother, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a pastor, I'm a doctor, I'm an artist. Those are beautiful callings, sacred responsibilities, wonderful gifts. But they are not your identity. Because what happens if retirement comes? What happens if the business closes? What happens after the children grow up? What happens when the platform changes? If losing a role feels like losing yourself, perhaps your identity became attached to something God only intended to be an assignment. Performance is a costume. Sometimes it's a beautiful costume, sometimes a necessary one. But eventually, every actor walks off the stage. The question is, who goes home afterward? One of the things I love about Scripture is that God almost never introduces people by what they'll accomplish. Before David became king, he was David, a shepherd, a worshiper, a son. Before Moses stood before Pharaoh, God met him beside a burning bush and called him by name. Before Peter preached to thousands, Jesus simply walked by the shoreline and said, "Follow me." Notice something. God didn't begin with performance. He began with relationship. The world asks, "What do you do?" God asks, "Will you walk with me?" One question builds resumes, the other transforms souls. This is why silence can feel so unsettling. When we're busy, our accomplishments speak for us. Emails, meetings, deadlines, people needing us, problems to solve. But silence takes away the audience. No applause, no productivity, no performance. Sometimes we mistake that discomfort for God's disappointment. But maybe it's simply unfamiliar. Because maybe for the first time in years, we're meeting the person beneath the performance. And healing begins when we stop running from that meeting. There is a moment in Jesus' walk that I come back to over and over again. Before the miracles, before the sermons, before healing the sick, before feeding the 5,000, before the cross, before resurrection. Jesus steps into the Jordan River to be baptized. And heaven opens. The Father speaks. This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Think about that. Jesus hadn't accomplished anything publicly yet. No ministry, no platform, no miracles. Yet the Father's love was already settled. Identity came before the assignment. What if that's true for us too? What if God isn't waiting for your next accomplishment to finally delight in you? What if He already does? Maybe taking off the armor doesn't mean becoming less responsible. Maybe it means no longer believing that responsibility is the reason you're worthy. Maybe healing looks like remembering that you were loved before you ever became impressive, before the promotions, before the accolades, before the achievements, before anyone knew your name. God already did. Take a slow breath. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine yourself setting something down. First, your business card. Now, your degrees. Now, your title. Now, your accomplishments. Now, your reputation. Now, the expectations people have placed on you. One by one, lay them gently at the feet of Jesus. Now, look at what's left. Not nothing. Someone. Someone deeply known. Deeply loved. Completely seen. Not because of what you've built, but because you belong to Him. Take one more slow breath. Receive His love without earning it. Before we leave today, I want you to carry one question into your week. Not what do I need to accomplish next, but who is God inviting me to become? Achievement may change your circumstances. Identity changes your soul. So next week, when you're tempted to prove yourself, remember this. You never have to perform to earn what the Father has already given. I'm Asha Doree. This is Granite Grace. And whatever you're carrying today, may you leave lighter than you arrived. I'll see you next week.